All right, welcome to the AI Growth Hacking Podcast. I am your host, Andrew Best, here with Addison Best. Once again, we have an amazing one for you. We're doing something a little bit different, or a lot different, I should say. We're going to give you a behind the scenes look at what we're actually doing and actually building with AI in our own business. So, we're going to take a look at this AI generation software that we're building out that we have a lot of customers for. They're liking it, called Cartario. We'll just show you quickly how to use that and then how we add new features with no code AI tools, and we do it with a team of 3. So 2 of us and one other guy doing a lot of the coding. So we're just going to give you some tips into that ad. So if you want to maybe just jump into the screen share and just show Cartario, we'll just do one example just to show the product, and then we can show like what we're thinking about building in and how we go about doing that.
Yeah, okay. I'll just share my screen in a second. As Andrew said, we're going to show you the actual software. Then we'll show you just kind of how we even build prototypes and move quicker with a small team with AI. Because a lot of people show you how to build things that, they seem amazing and they say you can compete and be the next, Facebook or Google or whatever. But we're going to show you it might not be as simple, but like we'll give you an idea how we personally use it anyway and see maybe you'll get some ideas of how to implement with your own business or startup. Okay, Andrew, I'm sharing my screen, I believe. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this we're logged into cartario.com and you'll see a bunch of stuff, Flux images and like products, whatever. For this example, I think we're just going to use an AI influencer. We'll choose the first one called Becca and make some images based on her. So just to give you an idea of how what our software does, first of all.
So you can train of your pets, of your products, anything. So this is just one out of the box that we made, AI influencer. So you can see there on the screen, it says Becca 1035. That's the trigger word. So the only real tip in this is you have to use the trigger word when you pick a model, just to let them know what you want to build. So Ad is going to just click the settings here, go to 4 images per prompt, which I like to do, high quality. So maybe just start with I like to start with the trigger word Becca 1035. Just to let them know. And then you say an image of Becca wearing a black bikini, walking on the beach in Thailand. She is smiling and facing the camera. Let's just see what this gives us. So we're going to get 4 examples here. Now, of course, you could make yourself, you could make her like with the products you have, whatever. Use this on social media, advertising. There's so many ways to use this. And then, like we said, um, you can build your own custom models with it. That's really the beauty of this. But then after we just do this little demo, we're going to show the next features we're going to build with the no code tools. Just wanted to show you what we're even dealing with to start. So it just takes a few seconds here to go. So what one do you think is the best one there, Ed?
I don't know. I think I like the last two is they're pretty nice.
Maybe
Maybe the
second to
last
last
one actually.
one. Maybe like the last
Yeah, this
one.
is a nice one. It seems like they're moving more. Her hair is flowing in the wind, that kind of thing. I think that's pretty cool. So you can
Yeah.
just
So
download them afterwards and then use them however you want. And obviously these are high resolution photos, but I'm not going to get into showing all the details in the editor at the moment, but you get the idea. You can edit them and do whatever you want with them for, social media, your website, or however you want to use them.
put words on them. You can even make, in different sizes. We just did the square one here, like an Instagram type post. But the point is, you start with something, could be a person like yourself, and then you make an image of that item or person, whatever, doing whatever it is that you want. So now, if we were to just back up for this whole thing, now we always want to add features to this. So one thing that we're doing, like we're using many things in the background, but one of them is Flux. the model from Black Forest Labs, and they just announced, excuse me, through a blog post that their even higher quality model, you can correct the language there, but their most high res HD one, now they're going to let you fine tune it, which is basically this. And we want to add it into our software. But before even doing that, we need to run the settings so that everything works out. And we have to test it to see if it's even good enough for prime time. And if it's not, then we won't even ask our coder to actually put it into the site. Is that more or less the theory there?
It's kind of like that because we also do product images and we're doing a Shopify app soon. So we're finding that we also have a background remover tool here and we want to show the product perfectly. So the reason why we even wanted to test this new model is to see if it would make a higher quality product photos in their default fine tuning settings. And so far it hasn't worked out perfectly, but we wanted a way to quickly test it without actually implementing it into our software because basically there's an API which I'll show you what that looks like. If you go to the Black Forest website, all you can see is basically a kind of a long list of documentation and different JSON rules and coding samples and whatever. But if you actually want to test this software or this fine tuning model and use it, you need to create a software to build on top of this first and then test it. So that's what we're using AI tools to do now. We're actually using them, these AI generators, to take the APIs and different data without even hardly knowing anything, and then building a software quickly to test it. And I can show you an example of what I actually built using Replit.
Let me just say something,
Um,
just to kind of reiterate there. So basically, if you read on a blog post like, hey, Black Forest Labs has announced, you can use their new AI incredible high res image thing, you think, oh, great, I want to try that out. But that page that ad just showed, that's all you get, right? You can't actually go use it. You need someone else to build something in order to even access it. All you see is just like a list of words and rules and code. So you don't get to do anything. So ad had to build this in order to even test whether or not we wanted to add that into the site. So take it from here. What are you showing here?
Okay, so to test the API that I found on Black Forest Labs with all that documentation, I built a simple app, which is a no code. It's kind of like using Chat GPT. It's called Replit.com. There's other coding tools that are similar. But basically, the idea is if you give it some information or a prompt, it can build you a full test app that you can actually use and interact with like a normal app or website or whatever you want to do, and you can even deploy it and make it, so you can share it with people on a real website address. So I made this on replit.com. So I'm logged in right now. You can see my screen. There's a bunch of a chat and an assistant and an agent. We'll get into that in a minute, but I'll show you what I built now. So we'll go to another tab. Here, I'm logged in and let's just have a look. Okay, so the idea is that all these settings are from the API, but I can change everything that's there. So there's full, what kind of fine tune. There's a bunch of different things. You'd have to read the documentation, but the idea is you can train an image model, drag and drop, put your files that you want to train the model with. Like if you had 10 photos of a product or yourself or a person, an AI influencer, whatever, you train the model, you test it, and then there's another thing that I don't have any models yet to train or to test, but you can generate images based on the training data. So that's the idea, is you can build an application quickly without having to be a coder yourself. And that's the cool part, even with APIs and kind of more complicated things that you would normally could take honestly a few weeks to even build a beta test of it, when that's kind of crazy now. So as a small team, it's great to test different things quickly with these AI coding agents. So I think that's the biggest difference is how we've changed our business to move quicker in the last 6 months or so.
So basically, you took that documentation, which is the Black Forest Labs API thing that you can't use from the blog post. Then you went on Replit and you built this thing, which is almost works like Cartario, but it's able to test the new model, and then we can see how that works. So, do you want to go back to Replit and just show anything with that, like how you go about doing this kind of thing, or did we want to use a different example?
Well, yeah, so we can go into it now. So this is kind of complicated. You get the idea though, is you can test something quickly and build it and actually use it. This is internal though, just for our team at the moment. It's not live anywhere. It's just a prototype. But if you wanted to build something, any idea really you have, so we'll go on that and we'll do a real example from the start. So we'll just log into my Replit account here. 1 second. And I mean, maybe we'll get Andrew to help with the prompt here because I don't think he's ever used this, and I'll get him to put it. So you just basically you make a prompt like you normally would, and then you click Start Building, and then it will actually build the app for you and suggest some features or things you want to add. I mean, of course, having a good prompt is important. You can even get Chat GPT to help you make a prompt, or you can just make your own one quickly. And I have some API keys that are already existing from OpenAI, so like Chat GPT. So we can build maybe a quick test app with that, and then just see how it works. Andrew, if you want to give me a prompt, I'll try to see if we can make something.
Well, we were talking before on the phone about like a research assistant, right? So if you're writing articles or blog posts, it might be useful to have like your own personal writing assistant or research assistant that can go onto the internet, check out the latest articles, on a certain topic, and then maybe pull out some bullet points that you might want to emphasize when you're writing, just to give you a head start. So instead of going and searching the web and reading everything yourself, this might help speed it up and get some interesting points about where you want to start your article. So I'd said make a research
Yeah.
assist.
So
Go ahead.
yeah. So I'll go into the prompt a little bit. Yeah. So we did kind of talk. We talked about it a little bit. But we're not really sure exactly what it's going to do. So I'll just make a quick prompt myself, just because I've done this before. Andrew kind of knows what I'm saying. I think yeah. Make a research assistant that checks the latest articles from a given topic of your choice. I'll define it a little bit clearer. Uh, uh, Give me uh, 5 articles and the links, and then suggest titles, suggest 3 titles related to one of the articles that I choose from this list. So it'll give you 5 or 3 titles related to one of the articles that it researched, and you can choose it. And then what else should it do? Does that make any sense? It should help me, to be honest. It should help me fix this, even though it might be a little bit illogical at the moment. So 3 titles related to one of the articles that I choose from the list,
Maybe some bullet points.
and then give me a draft uh, article with bullet points um, for the suggested article title that I choose, and use the OpenAI API key in my Replit account that is already there. So I already have it stored. It should know this, so we'll see what happens. So let's just see if it builds it. It should think about it anyway. So I'll start building. I could improve the prompt. For this example, I'm not going to, just to show you how it works. So I'm going to
The funny
click
thing is
Start Building.
we're making it look harder now because while you're making a video and you have to think what to say, well, you'd normally just be typing. So it's actually easier to do it. And you use the thing the same way you'd use Chat GPT. You just describe in words what you want. But these coding tools like Replit, Bolt, some other ones, they will actually build something, whereas like if you type this into Chat GPT, just the coding ability is very limited. It won't do much, but you use it the same
Yeah.
way, it just works better.
Yeah. So it is asking me to build a research assistant based, which is a kind of a quick prototyping app made by Snowflake. Actually, it's open source, and then it's going to use this. I'm not going to add anything else. I'm just going to approve the plan to start. But basically, it gives you other suggestions of things you might want to add. But what I find is it's better to start with something small to get it working and then add the other features because it doesn't always work perfectly, to be honest, either. So let's just approve the plan and start and see what happens. So it should start building it now. And then on the right, it'll show what it's doing. Any errors, it should fix them. Hopefully, you can see it's already coding something in Python on the right, creating main.py or py. And then it should be testing it. And you should be able to get an idea of, if this will even work when it's done. It will take a few minutes probably to make the initial prototype. So we'll just kind of sit back and have a chat, I guess, until that
Yeah,
happens.
so like the OpenAI key, if you have a Chat GPT account, you can get your key, and then basically that they bill you per use or per token that you use. So how much do you think this would cost when they bill you a la carte?
Well, we can see right now the way Replit works is it's by checkpoint. So there's actually a little thing. I don't actually have to click on it. Okay, so far it's actually so it hasn't spent anything. You can see a script execution error already, so it should be fixing it. It's saying I should put in my API key. Oh, it's asking for a news API key in this case, which I don't have. So I guess I could go over and get one, I suppose, but I'm not going to. So this is sometimes it asks you for it. Maybe I'll just tell it not to do that. I don't have a news API key. Please just get from Google News. And I'll see what it says. So you can interact with it because it will ask you questions as these are, as they're building, they'll ask or not as you go. So they're going to modify the news service to use the Google News instead of the News API. So you don't have to listen to your original plan, and you can just see how it goes and just wait until just keep going and working with it and wait till it
Or
either finishes the prototype.
You could go on Google
Yeah.
and look for a news API key.
No, I could have gotten it. So let's just wait. It's saying it took a screenshot. There's an error. Okay, it's asking me, can you enter a topic and see if it shows 5 recent articles from Google News? And then what you do is here, you actually can cut and paste the error log. 1 second. So I'm going to paste the error log in here. It's asking me for my OpenAI API key. It should have already chosen this, but it didn't. So let's have a look here. So I'm putting it in. And now it's restarting and thinking about it. I mean, in all fairness, it should have did this in the first place, but it's not a big deal if it doesn't because you can just see what it says and then put it back in.
you never know with these things. Um, but it's like none of these steps are that hard. It's just a little bit different each time. But when I was talking about how much it would cost, like you don't have to know exactly, but like this is under $1, it would be, right?
Well, this is 25 cents so far, all of this. So it's not a lot of money. And you get a little bit of credits every month as well. I'm already over because I use this quite a bit, but that's okay. It's not a lot of money to build a prototype, basically, is the idea. And let's just see. I already provided it, so I'll tell it. To be honest, it usually moves a little bit quicker, but that's also partly because we're using API keys. As soon as you start adding external things, there's more errors that kind of pop up at the start. If you just said like build me a simple one-page website, it would have done this without any issues. So as soon as you start adding more things, the more problems that can have, and that's normal with any software. In all fairness, there's going to be different version, different bugs, whatever. Okay, so it's trying to do something. So let's just wait a second. It's asking me, can I search for a topic, example, artificial intelligence, and see if it displays 5 recent articles from Google News? Let me just see. I'm going to go to a new tab and then look at the web view, and I'll open it up on a new tab if I have to. So this is kind of like a mini website. Okay, so it is. It's showing this. Andrew, can you see that?
Yep.
So it's saying research assistant, enter a topic to research. So example, artificial intelligence. So you can give me a topic if you want.
So this is supposed to pick something relatively new, right? What was that new Chinese thing that's supposed to be overtaking DeepSeek or something?
Um, well, I don't know. You tell
Deep,
me
do
because I'm just
DeepSeek
going to type it
version
in.
3, DeepSeek V3.
Is it this? Is it
Yeah,
Seek?
no, two E's, I think.
Yeah, Deep Seek.
V3.
Okay, we'll just see what happens. I'm going to press enter. I don't really know. Now it's running. So it is. It's coming up with something here. So these are recent articles. So I don't know exactly the format. I could tell them exactly what to have. I can see they're putting in HTML. I'd want text instead of this, obviously. It doesn't make any sense, but you get the idea. There is why DeepSeek's new AI model thinks it's ChatGPT, TechCrunch. So it's showing me all these differences.
Is this thing
So,
reading the articles or just giving a list so far?
well, it's so far giving me a list, and it looks like the way the software is working, I'm going to guess is then I have to select one of them, and then it's going to give me some information based on that. I mean, I can try it. So which one should I choose,
Or
do you
the
think?
second one?
Doesn't really. The second one seems
Yeah.
good. So I'll select that. It says it's running. I don't know if anything actually happened. No, I did. So I suggested that one, and then it says, so selected article, why DeepSeek's new A model thinks it's ChatGPT from TechCrunch, and then it suggested titles. You can see the 3 ones right here, and then I click the generate outline button, and then it should do something based on that. So
We'll
which
try
one out
that.
of these 3? Well, which
Um,
one? There's 3 of them.
let's do the second one.
Generate outline. Okay. As you can see, it's kind of a weird UE, I guess you could say. Okay, but it did come up with something. So here's the article outline. So here's the science behind DeepSeek's AI mistaken identity, a ChatGPT case study, and then it goes on to list this stuff. An intro, section 1, like headings and subheadings.
So it did read the article then.
Yeah, after it must have. So it
Yeah.
went to the I think when you select them afterwards, I think it just showed the list first, and then it did check everything. I'm not sure how much this I'll have to check my OpenAI key afterwards to see how much money this was. It wouldn't have been very much, a few cents, I'm assuming, for this basic of a
So
thing. But you get the idea. You can build a quick test app super fast, and of course I could make it look better and do a bunch of stuff, but this is the kind of the concept though.
yeah, so if you think about something interesting that you would want to use, you're actually building a piece of software that does something, and that's how easy it is to build. Now, I think the point here is we're just showing, the type of thing that you could build by getting a couple API keys and you need a few clicks and sentences. I mean, this particular thing, we'd probably, make it in a way that would be more useful to us, but it doesn't matter. I think just having this though shows that how relatively easy it is to build something that can search the web, read it, and then break it down for you and give you some suggestions. I mean, you could build really anything with this,
You
and test
can, and
things
that's the
quickly.
idea. And it's custom too. So if you are a writer or a person that does things that are repetitive, and just to help out whatever your flow is for writing, you could make your own specific research assistant. So this case, I got Google, News or whatever. You could have used that News API. You could use whatever you want. You could have your top 5 websites and just say, I want a summary of all these articles, to start my research every day, and then give you headings, subheadings, whatever you want to do, a bunch of links, just to save a bit of time. Whatever your flow is, you could build your own custom software now. And obviously, it literally cost me, you can see it now, it was 25 cents for that, to build that. So you could use this internally, and you don't even have to put it on a website, which costs a little bit of money to make it live. If you're just using it internally, you can make whatever you want quickly. So it's great for small teams to test ideas quickly, and you get different ideas as soon as you start using these tools. You find out what works, what doesn't. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like if you think, oh, well, I could just build this in Chat GPT or just ask it to do it. If you've used it very much, you'll notice that it breaks down and times out long before. Like Ad said, this cost 25 cents to do, but Chat GPT won't give you 25 cents worth of computing power per query. It just won't do what you ask. But if you're actually paying for what you're using and then you use this behind the scenes, you could build something much bigger that does more than this as well, right?
Right. So the thing is, the idea is here is like ChatGPT could actually give you the Python code, but then where do you put it? So you'd have this test app that could, in all fairness, be very similar to this, but you wouldn't have that website view to actually look at it. And that's the idea here. So you can actually click on the test app as well, and it'll show it in full screen. So it'll go and open this. So here's your research assistant. It starts again on this full screen. So it works like a website. ChatGPT has it so you would get the Python code maybe. It wouldn't test for any bugs either. And then you would have to test it, keep putting it back into ChatGPT, and it could take a long time. And the larger it gets, eventually it doesn't, it wouldn't be able to do this. Like here, it has a bunch of files that it created as well. Like if you open all the files, let's see this. So here's all the files in the left that it created. So you see all these main.py, like all these different files. Like ChatGPT won't create like 10 files or 20 files and then search. And then there's an agent, but there's also something that's called an assistant. You can ask it, and then it'll find it for you. And this only costs, for any change you make, it's only 5 cents each time you use the assistant. So it's not building full features, but if you want to change one small aspect or find out where it is, it'll do it for you. And then it's not a full, you don't need to use the agent. The agent's more, how do I add something large? But then you can also use the assistant. So it really doesn't cost a lot of money to use.
And you could also make this look better, even if you want it to look better just for yourself. Like I'd rather see it in dark mode with like better font and some logos or something. Or can you type that in just for fun?
I can. The only thing is it did use Streamlit, which is this is kind of like the normal interface, but I will see if I can do that. Can you make the UI look, I'll just say beautiful and in dark mode? Super professional. Like sometimes it's funny just to see what the choices that they make are and just see. The only thing this is, I do know that they did choose Streamlit. Let's just see. As you're saying, we'll get an idea if it what it does when you tell it to do this, just to see what would happen.
So as you can see,
So it
this is a live demo. We have no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah, it is tough doing a live one too. Normally I would have the prompts ready and ask ChatGPT and really think about it a little bit more, but even if you don't and you do it in real time, in all fairness, our prompt was pretty bad too. We're just like, go get, 5 article topics, do this and that, but it still worked. So it's pretty impressive, I think, for a first go.
Yeah, someone listening should feel pretty confident because that was a pretty easy prompt to be able to do.
For sure. I mean, again, if you can type in ChatGPT and ask a question or have some idea, it should be able to work. Now you can see it did something. It doesn't look amazing. I'll do it in full screen and we'll try it again, possibly. So let me just refresh this. So now you can see it's in dark mode and it looks slightly different, right?
And it looks kind of better. I mean, like you could build it, like I'd said, much better than this if you're not using that Streamlit. But they put the little, what do you call it? The magnifying
Those
glass
icons.
search
Yeah.
emoji, and there's something a little better than this. Kind of looks like a website. So
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't tell it what to do either. Like in the next part I would have said specifically, it had all those HTML tags. I'd say, "No, just show me the text on the front end so I only see, the summary of the research article." Stuff like that. You can just tell it directly what you want. And in all fairness, I'd probably use the assistant instead of the agent for that part because it's only 5 cents. So it doesn't make any sense sense to use the more expensive feature for no reason.
right. So maybe we should wrap this one up here. This was the first time we've tried this style. Will be interesting to see your comments if you got anything out of this, any inspiration to go build something with like a Bolt or Replit, whatever. If you have any tips or comments, whatever, we'd love to read them. We'll put our links in the description, so check those out. Add anything to add?
Yeah, not really. Just let us know what you'd like us to test because the idea with all of this stuff is we want to build real stuff and show what we're doing as a real company as opposed to just examples. Like in the last one, we made this research assistant as an example, but the other stuff for the imaging, this is actually what we're going to be using in our software. And it's how we make decisions as a company. So it's a little bit different. We want to show you all the tools we're actually using and how we go about making decisions and hopefully growing a lot faster with AI. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode and hopefully we will see you next time on the AI Growth Hacking Podcast, aigrowthguys.com.